This month's collaboration is all about Brazilian cooking, and I am cooking along with another 14 other creators from YouTube. Two men to mention here, so I will link all your channels in the description below. So I am cooking coxinha, which in English probably translates to chicken croquettes. So first of all, I'm going to add 2 chicken breasts to a saucepan, and I'm going to cook them gently. I'm going to poach them for around 10 minutes and then leave them to sit in the hot water off the heat for 10 minutes longer, and they should be cooked through. After they cook through, cool them down, and it's now time to pull them apart as you would any sort of pulled dish, pulled pork, pulled beef, whatever. We're going to split them apart into tiny little strips. It's a little bit time consuming, but well worth it for the texture in the end, I felt. So after you've done it, these should have a pile like this. Now put them to one side and we'll get on with the rest of the mixture. So into a frying pan, I'm going to put about half a tablespoon of olive oil, 1 medium onion, sort of finely chopped, and we're just going to cook this onion until it's softened. We don't need to colour it. Going to add some salt and a good teaspoon of garlic paste, the equivalent of about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic grated. So just continue to cook them until they are nice and soft, and then we'll put them to one side. Now into a bowl, I'm going to place the chicken. Then I'm going to add the onion and garlic mixture. Then 2 handfuls of chopped fresh parsley. And your choice of hot sauce. I'm using some extra hot piri sauce here, about a tablespoon. To be honest, the heat of this doesn't really come out that strong in the final mix, so I wouldn't worry about putting too much in. Give it a good mix up. I wasn't doing well, so get your hands in. Makes a much better job. Give it a good mix and put it into the fridge until we're ready to use it. And now I'm going to make the most bizarre dough that I've ever made. I'm going to put 750 milliliters of chicken stock into a saucepan, and when it's boiling, 350 grams of plain flour. Now this may seem bizarre, and it is to me, but anyway, go with it. Now give it a good stir. You need to stir this quick because it goes like concrete. I'm not kidding you. So give it a good mix, turn the heat down, or I've turned the heat off, and just mix it all in. I won't lie, this is hard work. It's hard on the hands, hard on your arms. If you're a professional coxinha maker, I tell you, you've no need to go to a gym. When it's done, I'm going to put it to one side and let it cool down before turning it out onto a board and giving it a good knead. So here I am. This is about an hour later. So time to mix it all together. As you can see, my dough does look a little bit dry, and I have altered the quantities of liquid in the description below the video. Whew, this is hard work. Sorry, I forgot to say, while you're leaving it cool down, I'll just put a tea towel over it to keep it moist. And now we're ready to start making our coxinha finally. So take a small amount of dough and roll it up, and then press it out into a small disc. Like I say, my dough is a little bit dry, so I'm adding some water to it in a glass just off camera, just to help it along. But you shouldn't need to do this. It's quite a forgiving dough actually, so I wouldn't worry about it. So press it out into a thin disc. You don't want it too thick. And then we're going to place some of our chicken mix on top. And then, this is where the hard part comes for me anyway. Fold it up and pleat it up, and the idea is to make it into a teardrop shape. Now, coxinha actually means little thighs. It's meant to look like chicken thighs. Well, if that's the case, I think my chickens had been taking part in some, I don't know, experiments in some nuclear laboratory somewhere. Because they look pretty much deformed. And if yours look very similar to mine, don't worry about it, because once it goes in that egg wash and are covered in breadcrumbs, you wouldn't know. It hides up all the imperfections. And mine have lots of imperfections. And there we have it. That's our first one made. Again, just carry on with the next. Do the same thing. You start to get used to it after a while. There's enough mixture here in the dough and the chicken filling for about 14 to 15 coxinha. But for the sake of this video, I'm just making 10. There you have one perfectly imperfect coxinha ready for the next stage. And the next stage is dipping them into an egg wash. And then, of course, putting into breadcrumbs. These are panko breadcrumbs. You can use whatever breadcrumbs you like. Just coat them in those breadcrumbs and we'll put them ready for frying. In goes the next one. I always use a dry hand and a wet hand when I'm doing this, so my fingers don't get clogged up and end up looking like, looking like coxinha. So I'm using my deep fat fryer for this. You can use just a pan full of oil. Lay them out. I'm using 5 at a time, doing them in 2 batches. And cook them for about 7 to 8 minutes, or until the breadcrumbs are nice and golden brown. Now, as you can see from here, the tops of them are just sticking out of the oil. So I'm going to use my tongs just to move them around in the oil until cooked. And about 7 to 8 minutes later, here we have them. Nice and brown and crispy. My family lived in Brazil for many years, and back in 1987 I went and visited and stayed there for 3 months. And every time you go into a bar and have a beer, you always have a coxinha. The whole country lives on these things, I tell you. They're fantastic. Sprinkle over some salt and we're ready to bite into them. Coxinha, as Brazilian as samba itself. I'd like to say a big thank you to my fellow creators, and I wish you all the best of luck in your videos. If anybody likes this video, please consider subscribing and also hit that notification bell, and you will be notified of any videos that I upload in future. So take care, peace, love, and I'll see you all very soon.